Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're finally going to go over what I got for my trip from California. So the reason why I was over in California, I was having a kind of kicking combine slash kind of tryout with some UFL scouts being there. So that's kind of like the UFL and XFL is kind of like a step below, kind of minor league-ish type to the NFL. So I played football up and through college, and I'm still trying to make some sort of pro league. So that's why I was over there. So that's what I've been kind of doing after school, after I graduated school, and I worked with one of my coaches in the state that I live, and then he suggested maybe trying to go out there and see how I do, and kind of see where I'm at, kind of show where I'm at skill wise with other kickers. But I ended up doing pretty well there actually. There was like six groups of six kickers, and tied first in my group. So that was overall a good experience. And if you're interested in seeing me kick at all, I'll probably link the short. It says like a minute 30-second video of my kicks there in the like description below if you're interested in that. But anyway, so that was the reason why I was out in California, and I said that was a good, successful trip overall. And I met up with my friend John out in Los Angeles, and of course we went to some record stores. There we went to three in Los Angeles, and then the actual kicking combine was in San Diego. So I made the drive down and went to a record store down there as well the day before the kicking combine. So that's kind of the background, and we're going to start off from the first record store that I went to, and it was called Freak Beat Records. Pretty cool shop there, and I got a little bit of everything. Got some CDs, 45s, and a record, or an LP, and they had a pretty good selection of CDs there. The 45 seemed kind of picked through. There wasn't a whole lot Beatles wise there, but they had a nice section of Beatles and solo Beatles albums. So good store overall. I really enjoy it. It's kind of like a nice, kind of smaller, compact store, but filled with a lot of stuff. So you can definitely do some digging there. And the first one picked up here is a Flaming Pie promotional CD or advanced CD. But it's kind of like the different color, different cover. Yeah, it's kind of like a white label promo type deal there, and so I just thought that was kind of neat. And then they had a CD I've been looking for a while because I heard some good things about it, and I believe this came out when did this come out? 2004. This is a John Lennon acoustic, so just acoustic versions or acoustic songs of some John Lennon stuff here. And I guess I just noticed it does have a little promotional sticker for that one as well. And it also has a hype sticker on here right there saying new acoustic compilation 16 classic featuring 7 never before released tracks as well. And I think this would be a pretty good like record store day to have on vinyl since this is a CD only release. I feel like that would be a pretty cool um, record to have out on vinyl maybe one day. But here is the CD, and I did listen to it, and I thought it was pretty good. So um, I would definitely look out for this release. And the comes with like a little booklet as well. Yeah, if you see this for a reasonable price, again, I like to pick up CDs for like $5 or less nowadays. It seems like, but yeah, definitely recommend this release. And the next CD here, I didn't have this one on a CD. Eventually, I'm going to get it on vinyl because it's the new Ringo Rama vinyl release, and I just never really listened to this album before, and I thought it would be worth a listen to before I get the record on vinyl at some point in time. But this was his what was it, 2003 release? Yep. And it also has a kind of a 2-disc set. So there is the CD, and it folds open like so. and it also has a DVD as well, Ringo Rama Land. So there you go. I don't know what the DVD. I haven't watched the DVD yet, so I'll probably check it out here at some point in time. But thought the album was pretty solid overall. Probably want to give it a couple more listens to, but I think it's it's kind of a standard modern Ringo album, if you kind of know what I mean there. And then the last CD I picked up was a kind of a promo CD. No cover or anything, which is kind of interesting. But it's Paul McCartney's "We Got Married," and it has the full version and then like the edited version. And so yeah, it didn't come with the cover. I checked, but I think these are pretty cool, um, especially for something that doesn't come out like a 45. You don't have a stock copy and a promo copy, but something like this. I kind of view it as a kind of a promo single sided kind of 45, but just in a CD format. All right, now off to the only 45 from this record store, and found this for pretty cheap, which I'm happy. And it's just a stock copy of "I Feel Fine" with "She's a Woman," but since we're out in the West Coast, it has the West Coast tab there, Los Angeles pressing, and definitely a little bit cheaper over there than I would get it more closer to the East Coast on my end here. And again, a quick way to tell if you have a Los Angeles pressing as well is that the credits will be a little bit more spaced out instead of condensed and squished, and then some uh, titles as well, either on one line compared to two lines. So they're just kind of spaced out a little bit differently on the West Coast pressings. So one day I'll probably try to track down the East Coast picture sleeve and a West Coast picture sleeve. Um, I'll probably have that on a list here at some point in time. But again, they are a little bit more pricey where I am right now. And then the Lone LP, I thought this was pretty interesting. You got a German version of "In the Beginning," the Beatles and Tony Sheridan. But the only difference about this one is that it is a 2-record set. So there is the track listing there, and it opens up like so. So I thought the 2-record set version was kind of interesting, and the label is also interesting as well. Nice shape, kind of on the gold black label there. And this came out in 1978 from Germany. So I thought it was kind of a bit of an oddity slash kind of cool aspect to it. So I decided to pick it up. And then from that record store, we pretty much immediately went to Amoeba right afterwards because it was kind of getting close to closing time there. And if you don't know Amoeba, it's a pretty massive, well-known record store out in California. We got a couple different locations. And also, here's my bag from Freak Beat. And here's the bag that I got from Amoeba. And I always kind of like keeping record bags if they look cool. Or I also like collecting like their business cards and things like that. Just kind of a little memento, that kind of stuff. As you can see, kind of on the top there, I got some business cards up there. And the rest I got kind of like in a little box. And then, let's see, Amoeba, again, crazy big, but it can get picked through a lot, according to my friend John. And it wasn't a whole lot there, but I did end up finding a couple things as well. And starting off with another CD, we got John Lennon "Once Upon a Time." And this is just kind of some excerpts of the John Lennon anthology CD box set. And this does have a vinyl release, but it's a little bit pricey. And so I just stuck with the CD version right now. Trifold, and that's what the CD looks like. And this also kind of is like a little booklet in there. Some information from the songs there. So it has like 21 songs with a total run out time of about 70 minutes. So pretty good bang for your buck here if you don't want to get the anthology CD box set. But usually those are pretty cheap. You can find those probably for $20 or less. But I just like it because it's a little bit of its own release, and I'll have to try to track it down on vinyl one day. And then I got a couple 45s here, nothing too crazy, just a couple reissues. I got Act Naturally and Yesterday on the Apple label from 1971. And then we have a 1988 Starline series of Help, back with I'm Down. And then probably the find of the Amoeba one here is that we got the Beatles' second album. Now, the way that they have records set up in Amoeba is that a good bit of them, or at least most of the Beatles ones, if not all of them, were like kind of taped shut. So you couldn't really look at the records, which I guess I understand from being a big store. You don't want anything being switched or swapped or anything like that. But it's kind of frustrating as a record buyer because I'm looking for different variations and things like that. I can't look at the label. Sometimes it's pretty tough to tell which variation you have. But fortunately for this one, I just looked at the back and boom, right there you got the barcode. So that means it's a 1988 release on the kind of purple capital label. But these are a little bit tricky to find, and the barcode is a kind of a dead giveaway for this pressing. It was the last pressing on vinyl until we got the Beatles in mono box set last year, 2024. So that was a good find there, not too crazy expensive either. So that was a good find there. And that was the record stores for day one. And day two is where I've been kind of saving most of my money up for, because I was going back to Rockaway Records. I've kept up with the owner, Gary, ever since I met him the first time I went over in Los Angeles a couple years ago now. And so we kind of got an appointment set up, told him I was coming, and he was more than happy to let me check to see what they got. So no particular order. I think we'll start off with the 45s here. And this one got both Rockaway connection here, because last year I got the picture sleeve for the kind of unofficial or unreleased Girl, and You're Gonna Lose That Girl. And he asked me if I had a record for it. Now, unfortunately, it's not the real one on black vinyl, because those go for $400+ nowadays. But he did have a bootleg copy on yellow vinyl, so I thought that looked nice and it'll kind of complement the sleeve for right now. So there you go. So that was kind of fun to kind of complete that little 45 there, also coming from the same record store I got it from. And then, so I looked through his kind of main storefront and kind of went through the 45s. I'm about to show you one next. And then he had a box of other 45s he hasn't really gone through. He said kind of more, quote, the kind of cheaper, more common stuff. So I picked out some things, a couple like French EPs, and then he was going to price them. Didn't end up getting any of those, but I did find in the cheaper box, I did find this one right here. Got the Beatles Yesterday EP. So when he mentioned like cheaper, I was like, okay, it's probably just another reissue or whatever. But it ended up being a first pressing because of the sold in UK text right there. And this is a real easy EP to identify if it's a first pressing or not, because all you have to do is look for that right there. And sure enough, it was a first pressing. And when he was looking at it, pricing it, and he was like, oh, this is a first pressing. So a little bit more on the expensive side, since this is a little harder one to find. But I was like, yeah, that's kind of why I brought it out. So couldn't get past one from Gary there, but he was doing his job, and he was kind of surprised to see a first pressing in that box as well. So definitely another good addition to the UK EP list for me. I think I'm up to like 3 or 4 now. And then this was the one picture sleeve I was hoping to get and like expecting to see, and I did finally get it. Made a video of all the variations about this 45, and I finally got the picture sleeve. Please Please Me and From Me to You. So very happy to finally pick that up. And here is the label that it was on. Just a standard oval VJ color band label, and these titles are a little bit on the thin side compared to the thicker font. So that's a slight variation with all the other variations that I had. So I'll keep this 45 and picture sleeve together, and that is one of the main goals I kind of wanted to get while I was there, because I know these are kind of faked, but I felt pretty confident in whatever Gary is selling there, and that series is completed. And now on to the albums I got there. Kind of crazy. He just had like boxes in the back. It's probably about 3 boxes tall, 2 boxes deep, and each box had like a particular Beatles album. So it'd be like a box of Magical Mystery Tour, box of Sgt. Pepper covers only, or whatever, things like that. So that was pretty crazy. But he had some, said he was about to put out for sale. He had about 4 boxes of those, so he let me go through those, and again he'll kind of go back and price them and give me a price for them for whatever I was interested in. So went through those, picked out some stuff. Let's see what I want to go through first. Let's do some solo albums first. And this one here, I think it's pretty cool because the hype sticker here is pretty hard to find. But this is a Ringo Blast From Your Past, and it does have the rare blue star hype sticker saying a collection of Ringo's greatest hits. And then it's also a certified best of album gold sticker there as well. Still in the shrink, and again, that's the album there. And then speaking of hype stickers, this was also in here. Got the Beatles Rock and Roll Music, and this one was open, thankfully, but still in the shrink, and it had the red hype sticker there is the best of the Beatles Rock and Roll Music, and those are the labels. So gatefold album in the shrink, very nice to find, and the bonus was the hype sticker. He did have some that were still sealed, but those would probably be like double the price than the open one, so I was more than happy just to have one open and to obviously play, because I really do like the track listing on that compilation as well. And some other Beatles records here. Slowly working my way through the anthology series here. I've got Anthology 1. And speaking of the anthologies, of course, Anthology 4 is coming out. So this will make, I'll have Anthology 1 and 3. And I did end up picking 2, but I haven't shown that one up yet. And this is a UK copy here. And obviously the triple gatefold album here. There you go. Pretty, I think this album is definitely a better listen to on a CD, because it's a lot of songs to go through and on the album, but I'll probably be picking up Anthology 4 by itself on vinyl, and then maybe getting the CD box set by itself with anthologies, I guess, 1 through 4. So that's probably going to be my plan down the road for kind of the Christmas season there. So that is Anthology 1. And an album I've been trying to track down for a while, but just never found a good price. I saw a couple of these sold on eBay years ago for actually decent price, but now they've kind of gone up. And so I've been trying to track one down, and I know Gary's had some in the past. He said this one's not in the best shape, so he gave me a pretty good deal, but I have no problem with that. But I finally got the the Big Beat of the Beatles. This is a South African only release. And we're going to take it out of the cover because I'm going to show it here. The glossy cover there as well. And here is the back and the track listing there. But yeah, been wanting this one because it's a South African only release for a while, and it's on the cool old school Parlophone label, black and silver, first pressing. So that one was a big one to knock off my want list there. So really happy to have found that, and also he's it's probably like a VG-ish type shape, but anything below near mint, it seems for Gary, he doesn't really value as much per se. So you can find some good deals there, but he definitely deals with a lot of high-end Beatles and solo Beatles and just collectible records in general. And then lastly, I bought a Paul McCartney record. That's also a promo press kit. And again, this is kind of more longs. I got it because I thought it was kind of on the cool side, and I just never really seen this one before. And then I kind of learned some more things about the album itself in terms of what pressing it was. And this is Paul McCartney's Press to Play, and this is an advanced promo press kit type item here. So I'm going to go through the items here. So it's just kind of like a folder, folds out, and you get the actual kind of press kit here. And then this one folds out into multiple panels. I might just have to take a picture of it and pop it up on the screen. But within the panels, I'll try to stand up after I take what's inside the panels. So inside the panels comes with some nice photographs of Paul there. Got a nice glossy prints here, so pretty nice pictures there. So those are pretty cool to go along with the press kit. And I'm going to try to show this the best I can. There we go. So yeah, this folds out, talking about the album, all that kind of stuff. And again, the pictures were housed inside that. And of course, the actual record did come with this, and it's a UK pressing. Let's see if I can get this folded up real quick. There we go. And there's a couple different versions of the UK album of Press to Play. And this one is the -1-2, which has the 4-minute 41 second version of the song Press, and other versions with different matrices have the different length of song for Press, the song Press. So here is the album, and then it also has the promo not for sale sticker on it as well. It's kind of a nice touch. There's the gatefold. Kind of a sturdy cardboard cover here. There's the inner sleeve, and then here is the record. So, pretty interesting item. I thought it was pretty cool. I never really had any kind of press kits before. I don't really know how many press kits were made for different types of albums. I know there's like a Back to the Egg like box set. That would be really cool to have. But I thought it was just kind of a neat item. It wasn't really anything crazy expensive. I tried to do some research on Discogs, but none of them. There was a release for it, but none have sold. So not really too sure. I think some people are trying to sell them for a few $100s, it seems like, but none have actually sold before. So I got a pretty good deal for that one, I think, in terms of the coolness factor. And that was it for Rockaway. And then the last record store I went to was in San Diego, and it was called Folk Arts Rare Records. And talk about a place that you can probably dig for hours and hours. It'll probably be this place. If you're a fan of a whole kind of bunch of different music genres, they got everything separated into genres, and they got pretty much all of them, it seems like. So they got big walls of CDs, and then records pretty much packed everywhere else. Organized though, but everything is either in rows or again stacked on walls with kind of the cube shelves, and they just got it separated into different genres and things like that. And I did end up finding a few things. And we'll start off with the Lone 45, and I finally got an upgraded copy of I Want to Hold Your Hand, and I saw her standing there, and of course, in Los Angeles, or in California, I got the West Coast tab there. I've been wanting to upgrade this picture sleeve for a while because this was like one of the first picture sleeves I ever bought, and it's a little bit beat up. So this is my first one I bought. So it's got a bunch of stains, a lot of written stuff on it, and then they put the wrong names on the different Beatles. So that was kind of funny. I'll obviously keep this one as well, but I just kind of wanted a nicer copy, and it happened to be a Los Angeles pressing. And then the Beatles related album here, got another Ed Rudy album. Came out in 1965 on this orange label. Again, just kind of a interview type record, and this is volume 3. And I believe now I have all of these. I believe I have to double check, but I know, yeah, I think I have 4 Ed Rudy albums now. And this one, unfortunately, does not have the Beatles on the cover here. I think that's the tougher one to find. So at least I'll be I'll be looking for that one at least instead. And then the last 2 records for this California trip are actually 2 Ringo records. And I think I'm good with this album for quite a while now. And there's another Blasphemy Past record, again, also in shrink, but this is the capital value on the green capital label. There it goes. So I have one with the original hype sticker in the shrink, and I got the reissue in the shrink with the hype sticker, and then I also have one from Spain that has a different cover. So I think I'm all set for this album for a very, very long time. I don't really know what other versions of this album I would get unless I maybe find like a UK first pressing of it or something like that. But it's kind of funny. I kind of gotten a lot of these in a short span, and I probably won't get any of them for quite a while. But the find, I think, of this record store here, another Ringo album. I want to take this one out of the sleeve here because it is a UK copy of Boop Boop the Blues, and obviously it's got the nice glossy cover. So there is the front, and there is the nice back, and here is the gatefold. So I was kind of surprised to see this one that's kind of out and about, also for a really good price. These seem to be kind of getting a little pricey on Discogs, it seems like. But there is the UK Apple first pressing, and I did play it, and it sounds pretty good to me. And if I'm lucky for Christmas, I will finally be getting a new record player to hopefully appreciate some of these albums and pressings a little bit more. I've been wanting to upgrade my turntable for quite a while now, and I think that's finally going to happen this year. So I kind of feel a little bit more at ease while playing these nicer Beatles and solo Beatles records here. But that'll about do it. That'll wrap up my California trip. Again, if you want to watch me kick some field goals, I'll have the video linked in the description. And then I also have some other Beatles and solo Beatles items that have kind of been sitting on for a few months now. So I'll have those videos up soon. And also the new Wings album, the new Wings compilation album release, and all the Beatles anthology. I'm sure I'll be talking about those in future videos. And then obviously Record Store Day is coming up pretty fast, actually. Fortunately, again, the Ringo record I don't think is no longer on the list, but at least I'll be looking for the George Harrison picture disc, and I always try to buy a couple used records if there's anything good from the local record store on that day as well. So that'll about do it. I hope you enjoyed all the stuff that I found. Pretty happy with everything. Got everything all organized and cataloged, so now I will be listening to them while I clean up some other records. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.